Twins' biggest scare this afternoon didn't come on the scoreboard. Imagine what Tom Kelly's thinking when he sees his superstar center fielder on a direct collision course with right fielder Pedro Munoz. It happened on this fly to shallow center, but Puckett used his anti-lock brakes, stopping his momentum and making the catch. The Twins had no trouble with ace starter Ron Darling. Brian Harper pounds this double into the corner. That scores Herbeck. It was 1-0 Twins in the second inning. John Smiley came through with another strong game. Canseco had a homer, but not this time. Caught for strike 3. And the Twins kept piling on the support for Big John. In the third, Puckett doubling home Mac. The Twins had a 3-zip lead. Ricky Henderson looked lost in left today. The Twins continue to have those blazing bats, one of their best years ever at the plate as a team. And the damage against Darling didn't end until Chili Davis delivered this 2-run single. The Twins pounding out 18 hits. Smiley goes 8 innings, giving up just 4 hits, and Oakland's lead over the Twins has shrunk now to just 1 game, with the Twins getting the 12-2 victory, and they'll play the A's again tomorrow. Roger Clemens and the Boston Red Sox took a 7-0 lead on Milwaukee. Tom Bernansky contributing with an RBI double. With Clemens, it's sewed up by now, right? Well, not so today. The Brewers rallied. Paul Molitor ties it off Jeff Reardon. Reardon was later ejected from the game. There was a 9th inning rain delay. Yeah, the Clemens lead dissipated, but Boston came back to win it in 13, 8-7. What a scare at Fenway. Detroit loses to Texas 10-8, and in New York, the Yankees eke one out over Chicago 8-7. The Reds have rebounded and regained a 3-game lead over Atlanta in the National League West. Chris Sabo hit a 3-run homer. The Reds seem to have figured out the red-hot Braves, beating them for the 2nd straight time. The score was 12-3 today at Riverfront. In 11, New York wins in St. Louis 2-1, and Philadelphia nips the Cubbies in Chicago. That final was 5-4. Minnesota native David Wheaton had to deal with a living legend and a crowd that supported 33-year-old John McEnroe on center court at Wimbledon. We'll show you how that went in a moment, but first, an all-time stunner on the grass. Top-seeded Jim Courier against unknown Soviet Andrei Olhovsky, ranked 193rd in the world. He used to play chess with former Soviet world champ Anatoly Karpov, and he used his head against Courier today, countering the Americans' power game with touch shots when he needed them. Olhovsky says you haven't heard of him because the former Soviet sports system favored players like Chesnikov and Cherkasov, not allowing him to play in tournaments that he wanted to be in. But he made the most of his chance against Courier, becoming the first ever qualifier to knock off a number 1, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4, 6-4. And Olhovsky moves to the round of 16 to meet that man, John McEnroe, who kept David Wheaton on the move. The 33-year-old Mac is the oldest player left at Wimbledon right now. The unseeded Mac controlled the entire match against Wheaton, causing him to dive there, and Wheaton never appeared to have his concentration level where it needed to be, mishitting that second serve on match point. McEnroe moves on with a straight sets victory over Wheaton today. And Agassi is also a winner on the men's side. There were no upsets on the women's side. Well, some marketing plans are a bit premature. You've seen the Dan against Dave Reebok commercials trying to figure who's the best athlete and who will win in the Olympics at the decathlon. The problem, Dan won't be there. Dan O'Brien missed qualifying for the Olympics today. Had some pole vault problems. Never cleared opening height. Reebok spent some $20 million on that advertising campaign, which immediately has ended. They've pulled those spots off the air, but still a lot of publicity for Dan not making it.
I guess so. Yeah, how embarrassing. All right. We'll be back with the final word.
Some people say it's impossible to make a great tasting sandwich that's better for you. With Healthy Choice cold cuts, they're about to eat their words and love it. Here's why. Tender chicken breast, oven roasted turkey, cooked ham. Delicious? Definitely. But lower in fat and sodium than the leading brands, and that's got to be better for you. For a sandwich this good, remember these words. Healthy Choice cold cuts. With Healthy Choice, the choice is yours.
There's a grunt a little bit. The Twins game this afternoon actually should have been brought to you by Double Mint Gum. Double the pleasure, double for the fun for the Twins all day. Brian Harper opened the scoring with a double. Kirby Puckett nailed this line drive double over the head of Ricky Henderson, scoring Shane Mack, and the Twins led it 3-0. A team record tying 7 doubles. And some sweet singles. Knobloch going with the pitch, scoring Gagne to make it 6-0 in the 4th inning. Oakland might have had a double on this next play, but Scotty Elias flagged it down. One of several nice plays behind John Smiley this afternoon. The Twins starter made just 2 mistakes on the day.
McGuire's got a chance.
Yeah, they were back-to-back to Canseco and McGuire reaching the left field stands. 18 hits for the Twins, though. Even the light-hitting Lenny Webster got in the act with what else? A double. The Twins have trimmed the Oakland lead now to a single game, and they can draw even in the American League West with a win tomorrow afternoon. 18 hits for the Twins as Smiley improves his record to 8-3. Albert Bell rang the home run bell, and Cleveland rang up a win against first-place Toronto, 6-4. Bell's one of the few legitimate big leaguers in the Indian lineup, so they better celebrate a win over the Blue Jays, and they probably are tonight. Elsewhere around the American League, Kansas City blanks Baltimore 2-0 behind Apier. He's 8-3. Texas wins in Detroit 10-8. Boston had a 7-0 lead behind Clemens, blew it, and then went on to win it in 13, 8-7 at Fenway over Milwaukee. Elsewhere, it was Chicago losing at New York 8-7, and California blanking Seattle right now 2-0. That's in the third inning at the Kingdome. The showdown series in the National League belongs to Cincinnati so far. The Reds have won the first 2 games of the series over Atlanta. Chris Sabo's 3-run homer here put them 3 games in front in that division. The Reds have riddled the Braves' starting pitching. So the victory goes to Cincinnati 12-3. New York, meanwhile, wins in St. Louis 2-1 in extra innings. Philadelphia a winner over Chicago 5-4. Van Slyke with 4 hits for Pittsburgh. 12-4 the Pirates over Montreal. Houston in the second leading Los Angeles 2-0, and in the fifth out in San Diego, it's the Padres 3, the Giants 0. People were upset at Wimbledon today, but it wasn't tennis fans or John McEnroe for a change. David Wheaton, who's considered one of the best grass court players in the world, no match for Mac, who kept the pressure on the Deep Haven native Wheaton all day with his serve and touch shots. The man once hated by fans is now the crowd favorite in England. At 33, he's the oldest player still going there. Wheaton was beaten easily. McEnroe winning in straight sets. But the shocking upset of the day belongs to the player ranked 193rd in the world, Andrei Olhovsky of Russia. He took on number 1 seed Jim Courier, and Courier just didn't have enough to handle. Olhovsky's serve clocked at 119 miles per hour. He also has got a nice touch game. He becomes the first qualifier to ever beat a top seed at Wimby, and he moves on now to meet McEnroe next. So the winners, McEnroe today and Olhovsky, and also Agassi a winner today in his match. No upsets on the women's side. Well, you've seen those commercials. Who's the best athlete, Dan or Dave, depicting the 2 athletes going for the gold in Barcelona in the decathlon? Well, scratch Dan. He lost out in the Olympic trials today. What a shocker it was. Dan O'Brien failing to clear the bar in the pole vault, waiting till it had reached 15 feet 9 inches, never got over. What a shock to Reebok. It had spent $20 to $25 million on the ad campaign and immediately pulled the commercials. It was about 10 minutes after hearing the news. The Olympic trials for cycling finishing up in Blaine at the Velodrome tonight. Connie Young won her first heat in a 2 of 3 series to go to Barcelona. It's the women's sprint event. She won the second race as well to sweep it. Those trials conclude tomorrow at the National Sports Center out in Blaine. And at Canterbury Downs, a different race and a long shot winner. Seattle Blues off at 56-1, became the biggest long shot winner of the year at the Downs. Would have been nice to have a couple hundred on that one. And in case you were out or fell asleep last night before 11:30, there was one play in the Twins' 4-3 win over Oakland that definitely is worth repeating. Mike Bordick, the batter, Willie Banks, the pitcher, Brian Harper, the hero. The ball hits off Banks' foot. Harper never gives up. It's 1-2-3 if you're scoring and worth another look. Kids, you know why now. You never slow down until the play is over. Harper gets the carom. He's heading toward first base to back up maybe a bad throw. And usually it only pays off once or twice a year. I've never seen it pay off like that before. But Harper with the great bare hand grab and the throw. And he's hitting well, too. He's up around 310 right now. And maybe a trip to the All-Star game. Tom Kelly just might choose him to go because Kelly picks the reserves, so don't be surprised.
You think he'll look at that play a few times?
Oh, wouldn't you want to save that one on your
VHS
VHS collection?
Would, really.
What a player.
We'll be right back.
Ask anyone who's driven a Ford lately. They'll tell you that we're building better cars and creating better ways to buy cars. Like our 4 new Escort LX models. All are equipped with air conditioning, AM/FM stereo, and other great standard features for one low price. Just $10,499. It's an easier, better way to buy. Have you driven a Ford lately? It's more than just a question. It's an answer.
In this business, you need to know all you can about security. And I thought I did, until today. One of my customers handed me this Citibank Visa card, this new one.
Look at
And
this.
would you believe?
Coming up on the 10 o'clock news, Scott Reynolds and the sports. Sponsored by Grand Casino Hinckley. Come live the excitement.
Come live the excitement of Grand Casino Hinckley. Play a few hands of blackjack at one of our 52 tables. Hit a giant jackpot at one of our 1,500 video slot machines where you can play nickels, quarters, and dollars. Or just relax in the pleasant surroundings of a beautiful casino. Enjoy world-class cuisine at our grand buffet. And then after dinner, grab a mint. The Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe welcomes you.
The Twins went into Oakland with a mission. Mission accomplished. They share the American League West lead with the A's after winning 3 straight out west. Good evening, everybody. We actually had a call this afternoon from a Twins fan who asked, is this a repeat of yesterday's game that I'm watching right now on Channel 4? No, but it sure looked like it. Some Twins fans experienced the deja vu in person. Already leading 2-0 and the bases full, Lenny Webster makes it 4-zip with this 2-run single. 52 hits for the Twins in the 4-game set. Can you believe it? The Twins probably have the best hitting bottom of the lineup in baseball. Greg Gagne cleared the bases with this 3-run shot. The Twins scored 10 runs in the 4th inning, their second biggest inning in team history, 11 before once. This next run significant because of Ricky Henderson's effort in left. He jogs to the ball in the corner, allowing Mac to score easily. 8-0 Twins, and Tony La Russa had seen enough. He sent Henderson to the showers, and he took his bats with him. Ricky went about it at half speed yesterday, it seemed as well. The A's say he has a slight hamstring pull. Scott Erickson went farther than he has all year. 8 innings, and the Buzzards knew Oakland was on its last leg. And Greg Gagne put the A's out of their misery with 2 outs in the 9th. The painful weekend was over for Oakland, and the Twins moved to a tie for first place by bashing the A's 10-2. 14 hits by the Twins today after 18 yesterday. Erickson went over 500 for the first time this season. He's 6-5. Chili Davis 4 for 5. A 3-game series at California beginning tomorrow night. A former Twin, Paul Sorrento, was the hero for Cleveland today. Here he comes with a 2-run blast in the 8th off Dwayne Ward of Toronto, giving the Indians a 7-6 win over the Jays and Jack Morris. Eisenreich had 3 RBIs in Kansas City's win over Baltimore, and Milwaukee wins at Boston. Viola gets pounded 9-3 for the Brew Crew. Nolan Ryan's first win in 12 starts this year. Texas 8-4 over Detroit. Elsewhere, it's Chicago winning in New York 6-3, and Bert Blyleven blown out early as Seattle beats California 9-2. Here's something you won't see often, maybe never again. A broken bat home run by Moises Alou of Montreal. That takes some muscle. Never seen it before. Former Twin Danny Nagel pounded in relief as Montreal wins at 9-0. Cincinnati over Atlanta 6-5. Sabo with 3 RBIs. In extra innings, St. Louis over New York. Philadelphia loses at Chicago 5-3. The Dodgers beat Houston 8-2, and San Diego over San Francisco 7-3. Well, the Dream Team got its first Olympic tune-up against Cuba this afternoon, with future Timberwolf Christian Laettner filling in at center quite a bit for the injured Patrick Ewing. Now, Laettner told us this week in San Diego that he didn't know if he could play center in the NBA until he practiced with the Olympic team.
I think I've been holding my own inside with, the huge guys that are on our team. I've been rebounding. I haven't been getting thrown all over the place. So I think there are times when I can play center because I am big enough, and I think I am strong enough.
Well, Laettner was plenty strong today against Cuba. He took Magic Johnson's pass and made a nice move under the hoop for 2 of his 9 points in the Dream Team romp. At the end of the half, Magic let his old buddy Larry Bird take the last shot from international 3-point range. No sweat for Bird. USA by 40 at the half. The Cubans were starstruck. Bird, Magic, Jordan. Michael only scored 6. These 2 typical of Air Jordan, but he wasn't needed to score today. Barkley scored 22, Drexler 20. A Laettner assist allowed Drexler to put the finishing touches on in front of the Portland fans. Dream Team was a nightmare for Cuba. 136-57 is the final. Well, for the past several days out at the Velodrome in Blaine, cyclers raced for the Olympics in Barcelona. Our Sunday special this week goes out to the riders who sped around the oval track. And more Minnesotans keep making it on that plane going to Spain for the Olympics, including Richfield's Steve Holman in the 1,500 meters. The former Minnesota high school champion is in second, chasing Jim Spivey. Holman comes up a little short, but the top three are going to Spain, and his hands are in the air as he celebrates. Mary Decker-Slaney will not be going. The 33-year-old Slaney tried to hold on for third in the 1,500 meters, didn't have the kick. She finishes fourth in that race, and Carl Lewis doesn't make it in the 200 meters. He failed to finish in the top three, so it's just the long jump for Carl in Barcelona.
That's
Big
it.
change. All right.
Okay, thank you.
At least
guys.
you'll have fresh legs.
Yeah. We'll be back right after a break. Fresh.
When both Consumers Digest and Kiplinger's Personal Finance magazine named Pontiac Bonneville as one of 1992's best cars, we weren't surprised. We weren't surprised because Bonneville exemplifies Pontiac's dedication to quality and safety. Now, with 48-month financing as low as 3.9%, we won't be surprised if you name Bonneville as your best new car value, because now...
From the velodrome, one end.
It can get a lot worse than not making the Olympics. Bart Bell out at the velodrome in Blaine crashed. He's in critical condition, unconscious at Unity Hospital.
Right, your new generation of Oldsmobile dealer.
Round trip air and motor coach tours will take you to Boston, Lexington, and Concord. Enjoy charming fishing villages and the excitement of the hit Broadway musical Guys and Dolls. Tours start from only $1,399 per person double. Our fall foliage tours sell out quickly, so call Holiday Travel in Roseville, 487-3377 or 1-800-826-2266.
The 6 o'clock news continues with Scott Reynolds and the sports.
So how many Twins do you think made the All-Star team, Doc?
I would think that at least 3 made it, and I would be surprised if 3 did not. But you haven't told us.
Yeah, we're a little surprised here today with what happened. Tom Kelly picking the reserves today, and Kirby Puckett won't have quite as much company as you might have expected at next Tuesday's All-Star game. Twins skipper Tom Kelly rounded out his roster by adding second baseman Chuck Knobloch, second in the voting, and reliever Rick Aguilera. And while one St. Paul native made it, 2 others didn't. Paul Molitor from Milwaukee is in, Jack Morris and Dave Winfield, 4th in the league in batting, they're out. And Brian Harper lost out at backup catcher to Texas Ivan Rodriguez. No Gagne, no Mack either. Tonight the Twins will be at Baltimore. Scott the Bulldog Erickson versus Arthur Dirty Dusty Rhodes. Kent Herbeck refereeing, coming up in about 10 minutes right here on Channel 4. Bobby Valentine won't be a part of that All-Star game. In fact, he won't be a part of the Texas Rangers. Finally fired today as the Texas skipper.
Bobby Valentine is a good man. He's a good manager. He's done a lot for this community. But having said that, we were concerned about this pennant race, the 1992 pennant race, getting away from us.
The Rangers are currently 6.5 games out. Valentine has been a mystery around the league. The mystery, how has he kept his job this long when his teams in general have been mediocre with fairly decent talent? Toby Hara will take over as interim manager. Other news, John Stockton has been cleared to play in the Olympics with the Dream Team. He broke a bone in his shin. San Antonio's Terry Cummings may be lost for the season. He tore tendons in his knee playing pickup basketball. And Duke quarterback Dave Brown was taken in the first round of the supplemental draft by the New York Giants. Well, we've come to halftime in the trial pitting NFL players against the league. Testimony in Minneapolis this afternoon from players' boss Gene Upshaw focused on what he called the league's monopoly situation that holds down salaries. But NFL attorneys pointed out salaries jumped 26% in 1989, even more than when the league used to compete against the USFL. After a 2-week break, that trial resumes July 27th. Well, the largest rodeo in the state is coming to Hamel this weekend. It takes a lot of work preparing the animals for that show. Work left for cowboys.
Don Buffington's title sounds like something from Wall Street. Stock contractor. But he's about as far away from Wall Street as...
Favorite beer? Just say PB Army ASAP.
Instead of spending hundreds of thousands of someone's hard-earned bucks to make 30 seconds of fluff, we at the Pabst Brewing Company are spending next to nothing to invite you to say PB Army ASAP. Because after all the bar scenes, all the jocks, all the beach scenes, and all the special effects, that's all there is. Beer. It's either good or it isn't. And Pabst is good. Really good. And it always costs less than other premium beers. Just say PB Army ASAP and find out for yourself. Thank you. End of commercial.
Good evening, everyone. Scott Erickson went 9 innings in his last start for the first time in more than a year for the Twins. Well, he looked like he was going into the 10th when he started tonight. First pitch against the Orioles. Home run by Brady Anderson, who found out today he's going to the All-Star game. Next man up, Mike Devereaux, same story, 2-0 Birds, as the Orioles bammed him at Camden Yards. Erickson bammed one of his own. Leo Gomez goes down from a rising Erickson fastball. He stayed in the game, but Erickson didn't for much longer. His replacement, Bob Kipper, got the same treatment. Chito Martinez with a 2-run shot, 4-zip Baltimore. The Twins finally got it going against Arthur Rhodes, who pitched like a Rhodes scholar. Even a run-scoring hit by Shane Mack went wrong, though. Larkin scores. Leyes easily goes to third, so Mack should have known that the throw wouldn't go through. He gets caught in the hot box. At least Leyes manages to come home. That cuts the lead to 4-2. Mack did make the play of the night, though, in the bottom of the 8th, and the Twins can be thankful he didn't get hurt here because that's a hard plastic warning track in the outfield. The diving catch. The real pain, though, comes from losing to a pitcher who hadn't appeared in the big leagues this season until tonight. Rhodes gets the win over the Twins, but the Twins maintain their 2-game lead over Oakland and 6-game lead over Texas. The Twins stay on top by 2 with some lucky bounces. Jack Morris deflects the ball. That's scooped up by shortstop Manny Lee, and he slaps on the tag to end the Oakland at-bat. Oakland didn't look as good in the field with Carney Lansford playing first instead of third. Can't handle Olerud's shot. That scored the go-ahead run for the Jays. It was 3-2 then. They go on to win it by a count of 4-2. And a Valentine with some pink he didn't want. Texas Rangers manager Bobby Valentine got the pink slip. Valentine's Rangers had been slumping, although above 500 games out when he got the axe. He's managed Texas since 1985. He's been one of the least liked, though, by other teams throughout the league. In the American League tonight, it was Texas 12-3 now in the 7th over Cleveland. Chicago over Boston 10-3. McDowell with his 12th win. Kansas City ekes out a win in Milwaukee. New York 7-6 over Seattle. And Fielder, a 3-run homer. He's got 73 RBIs. He's not on the All-Star team. 5-4 California over Detroit. The National League division leaders meeting again in the bottom of the 8th. Barry Larkin of the Reds went to right field where Gary Varsho had trouble getting a grip. 2 runs scored, giving the Reds the lead over the Pirates in that one, and they win it 5-2 at Riverfront Stadium. It's in the 12th, and Atlanta and Chicago are still scoreless at Wrigley Field. Houston beats New York 4-0. Montreal took 12 to beat San Francisco 6-5, and San Diego over Philadelphia 3-1. Well, some glaring omissions, as usual, from the All-Star rosters, this time involving 2 Minnesotans, one of them a twin. Tom Kelly picked a pair of his players to join Puckett on the American League squad. Second baseman Chuck Knobloch and reliever Rick Aguilera going to San Diego to play next week. But Kelly chose Texas catcher Ivan Rodriguez as backup over his own Brian Harper, who has a .302 average, better than Rodriguez' .287. He's got 40 RBIs, does Harper. As Don Shelby said, Harper harpooned, also bypassed in favor of a half-dozen other starters. Twins pitcher John Smiley and Dave Winfield 4th in outfield voting and 4th in American League batting, given the cold shoulder in favor of Carter, Sierra, Brady Anderson, and Roberto Kelly. Today in the 5th stage of Tour de France action, Italian Guido Bontempi was the winner, but it was Steve Bauer of Canada who had the biggest day. He moved into contention. Greg LeMond was among the peloton at the finish. His position, though, did not change. Pascal Lino of France still wears the yellow jersey, but Bauer moved to 3rd. LeMond is 12th. He's still just seconds away, though, from the favorites. And Kevin Lynch has re-signed with Charlotte for 2 more years. Good for him.
Okay. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Why does an amicable year for its Raspberry Festival? Each year it's decorated with parades and it has dances, and this year there's even a marathon twist contest, I think.
Mike's going to be at that.
I'm headed there right after this show is over. Now, speaking when this show is over, Eric Severide, special report. Mike, coming up on 11:05 here on CBS.
Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.
Welcome to the Minnesota State Lottery's official Daily 3 drawing. Tonight's drawing is being audited by the accounting firm Schechter, Dock & Cantor. The lottery official tonight is George Roebke. Our first number is 9. The second number, 2, and